Hello, my name is Benjamin Hart. I'm an American attorney and a managing director of Integrity Legal here in Bangkok, Thailand. As the title of this video suggests, we're discussing the possible promulgation of a new cannabis law here in Thailand. As we've discussed at length in many videos before, which it doesn't seem like people really watch, or at least the general public, because they seem to talk about this issue in a completely irrelevant manner. They're not looking at the actual posture of the situation. But as we've discussed in the past, cannabis was pulled off the narcotics list during the emergency decree here in Thailand, and as such, it requires a law to regulate cannabis any further than it already is here in Thailand. And by regulation, I mean presently it is illegal to sell cannabis to those under 20, as well as to those who have certain medical conditions. But as it sits presently, yes, there is a licensing structure. Cannabis is considered a controlled herb, and there is a licensing structure associated with that under the auspices of the Ministry of Public Health here in Thailand. But long story short, there has been discussion of creating some sort of new law to provide new regulation. You know, one of the biggest arguments I've heard in favor of this is, well, you know, investors might not want to get into it if there's not a law. Well, Thai investors don't seem to care. And if it pertains to foreign investors, I have to kind of beg the question, this is an agricultural product. Yes, there are certain limited ways in which foreigners could invest in this field, in this area, whatever. But as far as foreign investment, why does there need to be something in place to make them less uneasy? Because at the end of the day, this is a highly restricted, it's already restricted by dint of the fact that it involves agricultural development, agricultural work. So again, I don't really see why there needs to be a law from that angle. Again, as you can see from just walking down any given city street here in Bangkok, Pattaya, any of the other cities in Thailand. Now, I was down in Samui recently. They're everywhere down there. You know, small Thai entrepreneurs are already enjoying the benefits of the changes in the laws on this. Why there needs to be any further law kind of baffles me. That said, I thought of making this video after reading a recent article from the Bangkok Post, bangkokpost.com. Article is titled, "New Cannabis Bill, quote, restricts freedoms, unquote. Activist rejects many complaints claim." Quoting directly, "The new cannabis bill grinding its way through Parliament toughens penalties and includes jail terms for growing, selling, and importing without a license and for marketing and advertising the drug that was delisted as a narcotic in June 2022. First question here is, there seems to be all kinds of jail terms for those who are doing things that right now are a perfectly legal activity without a license. Well, some of it may not be legal without a license, depending on sort of the circumstances underlying it. There's no discussion, even in this first paragraph, regarding, hey, when are we going to put some criminal penalties on selling to underage? I mean, that to me is the biggest priority. You know, all this other stuff, I question why this is such a priority to the people who want to so heavily regulate this industry. Quoting further, "But its most controversial provision is the imposition of fines for recreational smoking, even in one's own home. This has drawn condemnation from many, including longtime cannabis legalization advocate and entrepreneur Chokwan Kitty Chopaka." So, a couple of things I'm going to quote further here, but yeah, I'll be one of the first ones who is drawing condemnation, or you can draw condemnation from me, whatever. This is a bad idea. I've discussed this in other videos. Look, I was critical of the last government on certain things that they had done. I was not critical on this because it's a good idea. This whole thing makes sense, and it made logical sense even to the Minister of Justice going back a couple of years ago, who at the time said, yeah, we would like to free up resources from going after people who are engaged in imbibing cannabis to going after people who are doing things like trafficking hard drugs like methamphetamine, heroin, cocaine, etc. So again, I fail to see what the point is of this weird kind of obsessive focus on the recreational use, to the point where there's a bill that would even say that, oh, we can come into your own home. Why? What's the point of that? Who's that helping? And honestly, and on something that the usage of which doesn't kill anyone, again, what's the cost benefit of doing that? And then we get into some further analysis back here. And for those who are watching this video, I'd urge you to go check out this article in detail. Again, title is "New Cannabis Bill, quote, restricts freedoms, unquote." Then we get back into some further deeper dive, if you will. Quoting directly, for many people, the biggest question is whether the ban on recreational smoking is going to be enforced along with the 60,000 baht fine. Well, really, do we need that? A ban on quote-unquote recreational smoking? And who makes the determination on what that is? And we're going to be violating people's basic rights to privacy to enforce a law on something that right now I have not seen the sky falling as a result of people possibly in their own homes recreationally imbibing. Now, I will say, as we've discussed in other videos, there presently are nuisance laws in effect here in Thailand, and it is possible to be arrested for a violation of the nuisance laws regarding cannabis if you are smoking in public. And I actually am in favor, and I've said this in prior videos, on stiffening those penalties and actually clarifying them in any future bill. Something that says, hey, if you're smoking in public, that's a criminal offense. You've got a problem. But again, what people do behind closed doors in their own time, again, consenting adults with a substance that has yet to be proven to kill anyone, I fail to see why police power should be utilized to, for example, quote unquote, break down people's doors, if you will, to go after that activity. What's the point of that? I thought the purpose of legalization in the first place was to get away from that. Why are our lawmakers here in Thailand trying to reimpose draconian measures? I thought these were the elected lawmakers that were supposed to do things counter to that. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Quoting further, Kitty said, quote, I would say it's more of a deterrent which equals more shakedowns. Quoting further, you know, this is Thailand. Corruption is so rampant it's not funny. Don't forget that because it has been delisted, it is no longer something that the police can kind of shake you down for from walking down Sukhumvit or all of those touristy places. They need to figure out a way to make money. So otherwise, the world just doesn't go around. Quoting further, does that mean a cop could be breaking your door down mid-spliff, question mark? Quote, that wouldn't happen because that in itself would hinder tourism. I don't think anyone would knock on your door if you're not blowing smoke through people's windows. Well, I don't really care what people think. I don't want the law to say that so it's even a possibility. What's the purpose of that? I mean, that's the underlying policy reasoning for promulgating a law on this, to create a mechanism so that people can be more readily, quote unquote, shaken down. That seems like bad policy to begin with. I'm hoping that's not the reasoning behind people that are looking to promulgate new legislation on cannabis here in Thailand. I sincerely hope that, because again, that's not only bad policy, that would be bad for everyone. And quite honestly, it'd be a step in the wrong direction. Thailand has taken a step in the right direction on this. Again, police resources are not being focused on this issue, and they're being focused elsewhere where they should be, on actual crimes that hurt people. In my opinion, that's where police focus should be. So again, we've yet to see exactly what any at all. We may not see any law on this. That's a possibility. Or we may see some legislation down the line. Either way, it remains to be seen. We'll certainly keep you updated on this channel as the situation evolves.